What my suggestion would be is that if I sort of introduce the concept of the show, because you two are the experts on English wine, and whenever you two go off on one, or when Oz goes off on one, I cut in and say, now, could you please explain what malolactic fermentation is? Because I think the level of audience we're going to get, what we don't want to do is get into wine speak too quickly.
That's good.
And confuse people. So if I'm sort of playing the sort of the bit of the dumb insolent Oz and going, excuse me, Oz, what is malolactic fermentation? So that we don't, right, so that we don't, confuse people. Yeah, is that
that's
fair?
Right. Yeah. Whenever it makes for a better piece of work for the audience, absolutely fine. Yeah, because it is very easy to wander off, and me and Kieron suddenly start talking about malolactic and thinking, hang on, malolactic is quite a long word, and less than 0.1% of the audience may understand what it means. Yeah, and it's easy to explain. It's
sure.
that the apple acid transferred bacterially to a softer, creamy acid, lactase. That's the word for milk. It's creamy, and it's actually
that's soft.
Suddenly,
but Oz, you see, Oz,
the glories of nature that this happens, And,
well, that's great. But you've just answered my question for Joe Soap, who comes along, and also to have a sort of some sort of an idea of what Rondo would be like, what Rondo is like as a comparison to grapes that we all know.
Yeah, exactly.
Because, the English grapes.
Rondo in Derbyshire will be very different from Rondo in Sussex.
Have you got any Rondo out of interest? Have you got any red wine?
Me? No, nobody sent any through. Henk arrived today.
There's a Pinot Noir. There's a Pinot Noir, I think. Didn't somebody send us a Pinot Noir?
There's one or two Pinot Noirs. I think there's Nightjar. Sergio sent through Nightjar from Clay Hill.
We only got one wine from Henko, didn't we? I've asked for another one.
Oh, hang on.
We only got a sparkler from Henko.
I've got 2 bottles.
Right, I've only got one. I don't know what's happened there. Right. Okay.
They arrived today. I haven't opened them yet, but they're both there.
Right. Okay. We'll just check that there's 2 bottles there, Oz, rather than just one.
Do now? You and Kieron chat for a second.
Kieron, how are we doing with our Cornish guys?
Unfortunately, I couldn't talk to him today, but I spoke to a girl who was down there, and she passed a message on. I also left another message. I hope that they are going to be on side, and tomorrow they will send the wine through. But obviously, that will be tight for the first show. So I guess we've got.
Yeah, it's not a problem. We could do them a week on Saturday, can't we?
Perfect. Yeah. Might be a nice way to finish. Kind of meander down the country a little bit. I don't know.
Absolutely. So is it your intention then to be sort of on screen throughout the tastings?
It wasn't my intention, but obviously if I'm fielding the questions, it's kind of how you and Oz want to kind of, obviously you guys know each other and work with each other, how you kind of want it to roll.
I'm not. What I thought we were going to do, if we sort of do the Oz and Charlie chit chat show, and then you're there with the questions in the background, and you can cut in and say, I've got a question for Charlie, I've got a question for Oz.
Yeah.
Because in my intro, I'm going to say that this would not be at all possible without the help of Kieron from the English Wine Project. Okay. And then sort of lead in and say that now, Oz, we're trying 3 wines today. This is the first one we're going to try, and this is from X Vineyard. And we're having let's try this sparkling one. Okay, so what do we got here? Then it gives Oz to go into more detail about that wine. Then if he does go off on one, I go, excuse me, Oz, and I'll tick him off. Do you know what I mean? In the nicest possible way. And then we have a bit of banter. Then wine 2, then wine 3, and then Kieron, after sort of 15 minutes, comes in and goes, I've got a question for Oz from Mrs. Yeti Goose Creature from Neasden, who wants to know why da-da-da-da-da. And that's the opportunity for you to go back on one.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, it's I guess one of the hooks about the show is it's almost your relationship, and the kind of bantering and the that sort of depth brevity, if you like. But at the same time, if you want to bring me in for questions or just a producer's angle or whatever it might be, then please do.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds great to me.
The relationship, television is made about stories and relationships.
Yeah.
Our subject matter is wine, which is interesting to many people. But what will make it work is if we have a relationship, and if the stories that we tell, whether they be about Rondo grapes or whether they be about Shropshire or whatever else, are attractive to listen to. And by the way, I've got the Hencote here. It's Mark 1, which is a 72% Pinot Noir, 20% Precoce, 8% Rondo.
Right. Well, that's the one I haven't got. I've got the Evolution, which is
I've got Evolution Fizz as well. So I've got two.
Right. I need a bottle of that. Okay. I'll cover that. Okay.
But again, I don't know really anything about Hencote yet. I see that they've got views over Shrewsbury, so I know pretty much where they are. But I'll have to go onto the website and
I'll get
over the next couple of days and do all this, because we haven't yet decided which ones we're going to use. The first two. Sorry, Charlie. What was the Kieron? What was the decision about Cornwall?
I think they're on board, but they've yet to confirm. And obviously, timing-wise, I guess it's going to be a week on Saturday for those guys.
Yeah, Cornwall can come in last then.
Yeah. That's perfect. I was saying to Charlie, if you kind of, I mean, obviously I'm keen to be on the first show, but if we almost finish with the furthest southwest point, it's almost kind of a quite nice natural stop, Land's End.
Yeah.
Yeah, good, like that. So who's going to decide which wines, the 3 wines we try this Saturday?
Well, we are.
Yeah, right. Well, we'll go Renishaw.
We go Renishaw. So what would go with Renishaw? Do we go even further north to Laneburg and talk about Laneburg, and then go down to something like Bolney?
I quite like
you liked the urban thing, didn't you, Sergio?
I quite like the penalty shootout concept. You kind of get your Alan Shearers up first, and then
the penalty shootout idea to get them in. And after all, when this goes out, people can get it on catch up, can't they? They don't have to watch it live.
No, of course not. No.
Yeah. Okay. Laneburg have got a Bacchus and this Mortal Angel carbonated. Kieron's got Wall Garden Rosé and a vintage cuvée, so that's already 4 different wines, 4 different styles.
Yeah, perfect.
So it's reasonable to suggest we might have a red wine there if we can find one. Now, we can find one from Hencote. We can Hencote or Hencote, is it?
Hencote.
We can find one. There are 4 back. The only other one really is Bolney. But do we actually do Bolney? And that's a cuvée rosé, so we'd have 3 different sorts of fizz. We've got the carbonated, we've got the classic cuvée from Kieron, and we've got the rosé from Bolney. So that basically makes quite a good set.
Right.
And it's quite Alan Shearer-ish. As long as you also put in Ife Onuora or Carla Saba or Big John Taylor. Who scored against Manchester City when he needed to.
Yes.
When it mattered, he scored against Man City.
Of course he did. Yeah.
But that would mean at the moment we're considering Staniforth, Renishaw, Laneburg, and Bolney, the 2 furthest north and a deep south.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like the feel of that.
So then, if we think that Polgoon is going 3rd, then we have to make sure our second lot is good. So we've got 2 East Anglians. We should take one of those. The more famous one is Flint. Yeah. But it doesn't mean it's the better one, because Gallywood, they've given us a Bacchus and a more mature classic brute. So there's a reason to consider Gallywood. Hencoats on the other side of the world. A red.
Very much an atypical sparkler. It's nice. It's
Which Gallywood is?
Yes.
Okay, I don't know it.
Yes, it's I mean, the final part of production was done at Hattingley. It's kind of very much, it's a safe, solid English sparkling wine.
You did that one, did you, or did Emma do it? Or
Emma did that one.
Yeah, so it's not too acid aldehydic. No.
Well, could I suggest we do Flint, Gallywood, and Hencote on Sunday, and then we've got the urban one in London, and Cornwall for a week on Saturday, whatever it is. 7, 8, and we're missing one because we've got 9, haven't we?
Woodchester.
You got Woodchester, which is a good operation, ambitious operation in Gloucestershire. And the wines, the Orpheus Bacchus and the Brut Rosé, probably both be very good. Have you had them?
Well, if we go urban London, then across to Gloucestershire, then finally to Cornwall.
Because urban London is one Didcot vineyard and one vineyard just near Gallywood, so that means East Anglia gets in again.
Yeah.
Then
Woodchester
on the way west, and then
on the way west, yeah.
Polgoon change at Gloucester for the Penzance line.
Bristol Temple Meads.
Yeah, I think so. Gloucester you'd be all over the place, wouldn't you?
Bristol Temple Meads. We've got to stop there.
So some sort of sense.
Or even in Stroud. Stroud's a good takes you straight down to Penzance.
Yeah, that's right. So change at Stroud. There'd be something. No, they wouldn't. No, Cheltenham would take you to Penzance because the cross country will go through Cheltenham, but not through Stroud.
Okay. Ah, yes.
Yeah, you could get sort of Newcastle to Penzance fairly easily from Cheltenham.
Nice. So
we got that sorted. The train.
Day one, Renishaw, Laneburg, Bolney. I think the pronunciation of Laneburg is interesting.
Yes. What is it?
I'm not sure, but it's not Laneburg. It's like Lannebrow or something.
Lannebrow.
It's something like that.
Is it Elise? Is it Elise in charge of that?
Is it what? So Elise, yeah.
Yeah, she can let us know all that, can't she? Yeah. Or alternatively, Charlie and I don't know it, and you can tell us.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because we'll have to ask what does Laneburg mean?
Yes.
Wayman. Yeah.
Well, it's entirely likely, Charlie, but Wayman and yes, and what's and can we hear your Shakespeare? Yes, thank you. Next, please.
And then Sunday is Flint, Gallywood, Hencote.
Yep.
And then the following Sunday is Black Book, Woodchester, Polgoon.
Yep.
I'm wondering, no, probably a better show. I just wonder whether or not it's because obviously Renishaw is a northern vineyard, then obviously you've got the northern winery, and then you've got the southern guys, Bolney, and they're kind of the bigger companies. Sunday you've got East Anglia plus Shropshire. Do you think it'd be better if it was East Anglia and Black Book? Also, the Ben at Flint and Sergio at Black Book were all at Plumpton together. Might be a nice little head-to-head. Quite fun.
So Ben at Flint
and Sergio were at college together. Yeah.
And you were there as well with them, were you?
Yes. Yeah.
Alex at Bolney.
Yes, Alex at Bolney. Yes, and Jeremy at Woodchester.
All at Bolney.
All the same.
Like all at Plumpton.
Yeah. That's fine. That's fine. Yeah.
I'm not just trying to work out. At the moment, they go across all three. Gallywood, you made Gallywood, did you?
Yes. No, of course.
So that was.
Yes, I did. Yeah.
But did you make Hencote? Did you make Hencote or not?
No.
You made Gallywood, okay.
Charlie, what's Hencote's story?
It's owned by a guy who made an absolute fortune. English guy made a fortune in Hong Kong, and came back about 10 years ago with his then young family and bought his great-grandfather's sort of estate in Shropshire that had come completely to rack and ruin, and spent a shed load of money getting it up to speed. But it is actually, the vineyard is actually on the site of the famous War of the Roses battle at Shrewsbury. And it's got a good story to it. It's got a good story. Darwin's involved in the story. And
what?
So there's,
species or Digger Darwin?
Digger Darwin from Shrewsbury, what did he do?
Digger.
Darwin, Bernard Darwin.
Yeah, there is also a wine merchant in the Welsh Marches called Digger Darwin.
Oh, is there?
Yeah, who
I
is
didn't know that.
The girl who used to go out with John Eliot Gardner at Monteverdi Choir.
All right. How many Wistons have you got, Oz?
I've got them going back to 1870.
You bastard.
No, I haven't. I've got the 1937 one, I think.
Really?
From my dad.
Yeah, I've got them all since 1940.
Yeah. I was in one Wisdom, Babes of Kent, I think, because I played for Babes of Kent.
Right.
We got some tiny half-line mention somewhere in one of them, but my father's terribly proud of my father's. There he was, leg spinning and batting about number 6.
No, very good. Anyway, we digress.